My name is Dani, I'm an art instructor, and you're tuned in to the Able Arts Work virtual learning channel. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I'm going to show you how to draw two different trees as drawn here. We're going to combine some skills from previous videos where we combine 3D shapes, textures, and shading. So the shapes that we're going to work with for these two trees are a cone, some spheres, and cylinders. For this activity, you'll need paper, a pencil, an eraser, a pen for outlining, and markers for however you want to color your trees. You could definitely do this activity with just a marker or one drawing utensil, but to get the effects of all the colors we've got here, these are all the materials I'm going to use. So grab your pencil and a fresh sheet of paper and we can get started. So I mentioned that we're going to be combining some 3D shapes and we're going to be drawing two different trees today. And the first one is drawn by using a cone. So it is a triangular type shape with a round base. So I'm going to draw these two lines that meet at a point and have a rounded bottom. We're going to add a cylinder to the base for the trunk of the tree by adding two lines coming downward that also have a rounded base. So that's the basic sketch for our first tree. For the second one, we're going to combine several spheres so we can get a full fleshed out look of the tree. So I'm going to start by drawing some circles of varying sizes and having them interlocking. And we're going to draw around the outline of the form and add a texture to make it look more like what I had shown in the initial drawing. I think that looks pretty good. And we're going to add a cylinder again for the trunk of the tree by adding two lines that are parallel coming downwards from the center of the tree with a rounded base. You can make the cylinders of different thicknesses and lengths. You can switch them up. But this is the general look of these trees. Next, we can take a second to review textures, which I have shown in some of my previous videos. But if you haven't seen them, what we usually do is we draw a little square and we draw what we want the texture to look like. And since we want this to look like leaves, I'm going to start at the top of the square here and draw these little bulbs coming downwards. When you wrap them around the cone here, they will look like leaves spreading out in all directions, giving it a more 3D feel rather than a flat shape. So I'm just bringing it across the square, having the leaves go in one direction, wrapping around and coming out to the other side. And we're going to take this texture and apply it across the surface of the cone. So I'm going to start at the top here and start wrapping those bulbous shapes around on each row all the way across. Awesome. Now for this tree, we're going to do something slightly different. I think that it looks good if we just go around the outline and we can still use a bumpy exterior so we can give the illusion of leaves, but we're not going to be texturing each individual sphere. So I'm just going to start on one of the outer arcs and I'm making a bumpy line. We're just going to trace the entire outline of this tree. Okay, now since we still want to give it a bit more depth, we're going to choose a few of these arcs to give a bumpy line as well. We just won't be texturing each individual sphere. So I'm going to follow this line inwards. You can follow this one a bit. You can pick any of them that you like. It'll help us shade later on when we can see some individual spheres, but we're not going to articulate each line. Great. Next, let's take our pen, if we have one, and we're going to trace over each of these bumps, as well as the outer lines. We won't be touching these arcs that we did not texture. We will be drawing the trunks of the trees and all of the bumpy lines that we've made. Great. Now we can wait a second for the ink to dry and use our eraser to get rid of any of the pencil lines remaining. Okay. Lastly, we're going to color them in with our markers. I've got two green markers here, a lighter yellow green and a darker green. If you don't have two different kinds of green markers, you could use a yellow marker for the lighter part of the tree and a green marker for the darker part of the tree. So let's say that we've got our sun over here. That's where the source of light would come from. It would come down from this top right corner, hitting the top right part of each of these spheres and hitting the right side of this cone. So we're going to take our yellow marker or our lighter green marker and highlight the top part where the light would be hitting of each of these spheres. And we're going to do the same for the cone. We're going to try to just hit the right side of the cone as the shadow will be wrapping around the back. So let's take our dark green marker and fill in all the spots that we missed before. The shadow will be wrapping around the back of each of these spheres. We're going to articulate that with our marker. We're going to do the same thing for the cone, going down the left side now. Great. Now we've got two little trees that look like they exist in a 3D space. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had fun combining some skills of 3D shapes, texturing, and shading. I hope that you picked some colors that you liked and you had fun learning about these skills. Check out the other videos on our channel about art, language, and music.